Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes. All right. Just, I'll stay near the mic because you can maybe hear what I'm trying to say. Number one, you're welcome. And you bring your little child here for baptism. I was given a little bit of thought to this. Father Ned asked me would I stand in. He's gone someplace. And I think the main thought that comes up for me is baptism is about the child is asleep, so the child knows nothing about this. At least they might stay asleep. Let's hope they will. But baptism is about initiation, if you like, into the Christian family. Many of you, maybe all of you, I don't know, might have been baptized. And what happened was, when I was baptized, I was brought into the Christian family. It is like an extension of your own family. And because of that, you have a lot of rights. You might be aware of this, but you have a lot of rights because of you being a member of this family. And I suppose I'll just read to me the kernel of this ceremony. Jesus was once talking to the leaders of the community in Jerusalem. And Jerusalem is very much, good man, Jerusalem is very much in our psychic at the present time. Slaughter, all kinds of abuses. He's grand. I'd leave him alone, he's grand. And Jesus said to the Jews one time, what is the first commandment? And they asked him, what was the first commandment? And he said, this is the first. Listen, the Lord our God is the one Lord, and you must love the Lord your God as best you can with all your heart and soul and strength. The second is this: you must love your neighbor as yourself. And this is the basis of the Christian message. And actually it is very interesting that one day Jesus had a discussion with the leaders at that time. And they said, or he said to them, in your culture, he said, you have a tradition of an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. That means how do you retort to people, how you teach people, how you live with people. He said, this is wrong, to have an eye for an eye. When you think of Israel at this present moment. And then he said to them, this is wrong teaching. You have to forgive, no matter what anyone does to you. It's the total opposite. And this was the main reason why Christ was put to death. Now, what would have happened if Jesus or Gandhi or Mandela in his later life, when that terrible atrocity happened in last October, 12 months, is it, or whenever it happened, what would Christ have done? Would he have retaliated? Would Gandhi have retaliated? Would Mandela have retaliated? Great question. If he didn't retaliate, maybe he'd be shot. But they did retaliate. And look at the catastrophe that has now evolved in that part of the world. So there is a simple message, or a powerful message for us, that if we are baptized as Christians, the whole area of how we treat each other is the kernel of it. It's not about rules and regulations. I wouldn't be bothered coming here this evening if I thought it was about rules. It's not about that. It is about, as Christ did before he died, the last thing he did was he washed the disciples' feet. He washed their feet. And that means that he said, look after each other. That's all it is about. Look after each other. And then he said, to help you to live this quality of life, I give you the Eucharist. I give you the Eucharist, which is the Eucharist, Holy Communion, to guide you to Mass, to help you. So really, this is what we're talking about this evening. I'll shut up now in a minute. But this is the message, that these children are now in your family. Now, what kind of views are you going to transmit to these children as they grow up? That's the challenge of the parents. No one is perfect. We all make mistakes. But if your attitude at your baptism of your baby is that you're going to try and bring this child up in that kind of milieu of compassion, forgiveness, and love, that's all this is about. And you know as well as I do that our parents are so important. I remember one night as a young fella coming in very late, and I ran up the stairs. There were 6 flights of stairs, and it was about 1 a.m. And I fell over my father. He was kneeling down praying in the dark. That was a pivotal moment in my understanding of where he was coming from. So you can't transmit anything to a person unless you're some way involved in it yourself. So you parents are hugely important. And don't put too much strain on yourself, because we're all dysfunctional at times. I often laugh when I think of people talking about, I come from a dysfunctional family. I have never yet met a fully functional family. I've never met a very functional institution, including the church. We're all dysfunctional at times, but we all have terrific insight in ourselves given to us by God. And if I respond, or if you respond to your gut, you know what's right. And the more you respond to your gut, the more spiritual you are. So, I welcome then the whole lot of you to this little ceremony this evening. In presenting these children, you're enrolling them in the Christian family. And parents, are you prepared as best you can to help them grow as Christians? We do, all right? You can answer privately if you want. Godparents, are you willing to support these parents as they bring their children the Christian life? We will. With great joy, we now anoint the little babies. So now, the first then will be this, just to bring up the child, please. Lord, these children are small and fragile. Watch over them and give them your grace to grow strong in faith, hope, and love. And have we some people know of the prayers? Have you? Some people are. Friends, let us ask our Lord Jesus to look lovingly on these children who are to be baptized, to look on their parents and their godparents and on all the baptized. Bathe these children in light, give them the new life of baptism, and welcome them into your holy church. Lord, hear us. Make them your faithful follower and a witness to your gospel. Lord, hear us. Make their lives and the lives of their parents be examples of faith to inspire these children. Lord, hear us. Keep their family always in your love. Lord, hear us. Renew the grace of baptism in each one of us. Lord, hear us. God our Father, hear the prayers of these children for their families and their parish and their community, and for all who are baptized. And now we make a profession of faith. That means that in your life that you'll try and be as good an influence as you can. Parents and godparents, in bringing these children for baptism, you're accepting the responsibility of sharing them in the Christian faith. If you're ready to do this, profess your own faith. This is the faith of God's family. This is the faith in which these children are to be baptized. Do you believe in God the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth? I do. Will you teach these children to love God and to support other people? Lord, hear us. Do you believe in Jesus Christ, his only begotten Son, who died and rose from the dead? I do. Do you believe in God's Spirit, who draws all together in one family? Will you lead these children to join the life of worship of God's family? If this is your faith and promise, we welcome these children to baptism. And now we will bring up the children. And the first then here.
The responsorial psalm. The response is, "The Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want." The Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want. Fresh and green are the pastures where he gives me repose. Near restful waters he leads me to revive my drooping spirit. Response.
The Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want.
He guides me along the right path, he is true to his name. If I should walk in the valley of darkness, no evil would I fear. You are there with your crook and your staff, with these you give me comfort. Response.
The Lord is my shepherd,
There is nothing I shall want. You have prepared a banquet for me in the sight of my foes. My head you have anointed with oil, my cup is overflowing. Response.
The Lord
is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want. Surely goodness and kindness shall follow me all the days of my life. In the Lord's own house shall I dwell forever and ever. Response. The Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want.
A reading from the letter of St. Paul to the Romans. You have been taught that when we were baptized in Christ Jesus, we are baptized in his death. In other words, when we are baptized, we went into the tomb with him and joined him in death. So that as Christ was raised from the dead by the Father's glory, we too might live a new life. If in union with Christ we have imitated his death, we shall also imitate him in his resurrection. This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God. Thanks.
A reading from the first letter of St. Peter. He is the living stone, rejected by men, but chosen by God and precious to him. Set yourselves close to him so that you too, the holy priesthood that offers the spiritual sacrifices which Jesus Christ has made acceptable to God, may be living stones, making a spiritual house. But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a consecrated nation, a people set apart, to sing the praises of God who called you out of the darkness into his wonderful light. Once you were not a people at all, and now you are the people of God. Once you were outside the mercy, and now you have been given mercy. This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God. Baptized, no problem with that. The fact that you're here, that's all exactly. Are you one of the kings there? Exactly. I knew your mother. Thanks, Bobby.
Exactly. Thanks for your persistence.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. A relation, actually, of this little fella was my boss for years. As a young priest in Waterford. Bobby Keane was his name. So, anyhow, that's it, really. My just thoughts today is that it's interesting that the lady that read the psalm there, you read about the Lord is my shepherd. Just a quick little story before you go. I was having a serious operation there a few years ago, and I got a book, and the book was about Charlie Chaplin. Now, very few people in this gathering would have seen Charlie Chaplin and the films, because I vaguely remember, I think it was nearly silent films in Dungarvan. And Charlie Chaplin, well anyhow, the story goes, Charlie Chaplin was writing his life story. And he said his mother was very poor. They lived in some kind of a small little lane over in London, some part of London. And the poor woman, the husband had gone. There was just herself and two little boys in the family. And Charlie had a fever. And he was very sick, he said. And the next day his mother started to read the Bible. Every night, he said, she'd read a little quotation about the mystery of Christ and the whole idea of love and compassion and fair play and honesty and all these things. But it made such an impression on him that he used to dream back in his adult life about those relationships and those experiences that he experienced with his mother she was very poor. She was an actress herself, but she got laryngitis, and she couldn't hardly rear the children. But he said, that feeling that I'm loved and I'm cared for by a being outside myself, that never left me. So I welcomed that when I was in my little operation, and I just share that with you, that in your journey in life, most of the time we're not even aware of things. But the whole idea of love, compassion, these are sacred things, and we must never let them drift. Otherwise, society disintegrates. Have a lovely evening now, and safe home. Thanks.